the guys that you've coached that have gone on and got Division I scholarships or had successful college careers and made it into the NBA, has there been any surprises, or did you feel like you saw that potential?
No. They all were surprises, honestly. I'd be foolish to say. When I say surprises, I knew how hard Josh played, how special he was. I knew Sadiq, speaking of that genetic lottery, he came in here at 5'9", ended up leaving here, I think, about 6'7", but then obviously grew 2 more inches at Villanova.
Wow.
So, I mean, obviously, but his work ethic was off the chain.
Yeah.
But I can't say that. I mean, I think that's really hard to see at high school. I don't even know if I want us to become a program where I know a kid's going to be a pro
right.
As a high school player. I love the development piece. I love over time where people say, man, I knew they were good players, but I didn't see that coming. Like, I actually like that.
Yeah. I was just talking to, I guess now people call him Mamadou, Principal Mamadou. For me, it was Monsieur Gay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was just saying, I said, he was just so excited that we were sitting down today. And he was like, you got to ask Eric, like, how he does it, because, they keep winning and they keep beating everybody, but they're not, they're smaller than people, and they're not, they don't have the players at the other, and I know you've kind of already gone there, but do you think that description's right? I mean, do you think that description's right? Do you feel like you guys are, do you guys feel like when you're going in, I mean, obviously mentally and with the training, you're not at a disadvantage.
Right.
But in the beginning of the season, if you were to look at, the teams you coach, compare, I mean, look, like I said, it's one of the great basketball cities of the world.
Absolutely.
Potentially the best. Like,
yeah.
How do you feel like you do it? And do you think that assessment's right?
No, I think the assessment's spot on. I think that, even if it wasn't, mentally, I always told the guys the other day, we are a number one company that operates like a number two. And the day we stop operating like a number two, it'll be the ruin of us. So at the end of the day, I think the assessment physically is somewhat right, but at the end of the day, we've gotten to the point now where the synergy between work ethic, the players, and then my coaching, that's where we've been really successful, year in and year out, where I think even our peers are starting to respect us and fear us in a way that maybe has been different than in the past.
Yeah, it really is crazy to think about. It's
surreal.
It's crazy because you're right. I mean, I think that was a real thing. I losing to other teams' jerseys.
Yeah.
I'll never forget playing football here and having the team walk in and just looking at guys on my team.
Yep.
I remember Dougie Thornell snapping on people because they were like, man, look how big those guys are. And
right.
You can fucking act like a man. What are you
exactly.
What are you doing, man?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it was such a hard thing to build here because it was really, it was a culture of losing, honestly. You know what I mean? That's really and so to think about this basketball, the men and the women's,
it's unbelievable.
number one in the country. It's
unbelievable.
It's beyond.
Yeah.
It's beyond staggering. I mean, it's truly.
It truly is.
It's incredible.
It's a credit to, obviously, Tamika's an amazing coach, but once again, it's a credit to. I got to give the young people credit. We know we've done it. You, me, Dougie, Gareth, Natalie. That's a hard place up there.
Yeah.
Right. It's a hard place to navigate and do well and compete with your peers and make it matter to you and then still come down here on these fields and these courts and try to be excellent. You know what I mean? So I give the young people a lot of credit. Like you said, boys, girls, soccer, tennis. I mean, we're really, really good, man. So I couldn't be more proud to be an alum. I always say I get to win twice.
Yeah.
I win as a coach, but I also get to brag and this emotional bragging as an alumni.
What do you think about kids these days? I mean, what do you feel like the friendships are as rich? Do you feel like their relationships are as kind of complex and deep as they were back in the day?
I think they have more mobility now, and so therefore that's twofold. It gives them the opportunity for that to be as rich, to your question, but it also gives them the ability to be more separate and doing their own thing. And everybody has a schedule, and everybody's doing this. And so, the thought of having to do play dates, right? That's just foreign to me, right?
Crazy, yeah.
And having it to have to be scheduled.
Yeah.
And so, I think there's a sense of the world moving so fast, even what they get to read, right? What they get, be disengaged. It's one of the things that we do on, before game day, no phones. I want the guys talking to each other.
You implement that rule, no phones on game day.
Yeah.
That's great.
Because if you don't, then they're, we're susceptible to it. I'm in my phone a lot.
Yep.
I'm on Twitter, and I'm no different. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, we all got to take a step back to reinforce and re-engage in those commitments of relationships and having deep, friendships. But I do think they're capable, but I definitely think the kids are much more, even self-imposed, but they're busier. They're definitely more self-motivated by things that they may want. And so that's why team sports becomes important, because if they didn't do that, then they wouldn't engage at all.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who coaches modern day football out in California. Another
Powerhouse.
Powerhouse program. And one thing he talked about, and his son was on the team. Just got a full ride to play at Cal, and beautiful family. But one thing he talked about is when he was growing up in Arkansas playing high school football, like, they hated the people they played against. I mean,
Right.
I to this day, I mean, I'll be straight up, like, I'll sit and take a picture with anybody. Until there's nobody left. But if I see somebody wearing the St. Albans jacket, like, I'm not going to take a picture with you. I'll just be honest with you. Like, I'm not. It's not going to happen.
Facts,
You know what I mean?
facts.
And like, I might if you take it off, but I honestly might not.
Right.
And I don't really feel like that way about anybody. Like,
Right.
I just can't get down with you if you're from that school.
It's still in
And
you.
It's dude, you know what I'm saying? And I just remember, I mean, there was real kind of hatred, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I also recognized what this coach was telling me, that there was something real valuable in that, because what he said now, these top athletes, in the greater Los Angeles area, they've all been at camps with each other.
Yep.
They all know each other. They're all friends. There's no real rivalry like that.
Right.
It's everyone's just kind of like they're on this journey of trying to get someplace together, and it's like the high school is just a stop along the way.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? And what have you seen?
Yeah, no, I think he's spot on. Coach is spot on, and but I also think there's one of the phrases I always use again is the truth is in the middle, and so there's a sense of like Anwar McQueen, one of my hated rivals.
Yeah.
But I talk to him almost every day now, so we're like frenemies.
Yeah.
We're much more. We've always been friends, but no, I think there's some value in what you're saying, though. I think that it's important to maintain the sense of tribalism when it comes to like your team and your school.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. When I see kids around here walking with like another school shirt on, like I make them take it off.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't play that. You know what I mean? Like
straight
that
up.
gets under my skin to this day. And so I still say the school down the street. Like I don't even call them by their name. So. And when I play them, I want to beat them, by 50 if I can.
Yeah.
And then, shake their hand after the game, but I want to beat them bad.
Yeah.
I want to beat Murray bad.
Bad.
You know what I mean? So therefore, I still have that sense. So I try to give that.
And you
to the
guys do
kids.
beat them, which is amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that was so hard. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because you had that feeling, and then they come in, and just, man.
I know, man. Like that's what I talked to. Mike Wood and I real super close, and we talked about that. He and Dax Ross were just saying, man, we had some athletes back here, and if I was the coach of our teams, what that would have been like. So that was a big compliment.
Yeah. Can you give me an example of just a kid who's been just a great teammate, something that you've seen somebody do that has put the team before them, something that you really celebrate or that touched you?
Man, I've had a few of those kids. I think, the majority of our kids are that way. I think that's what makes Sidwell unique. But I've had a couple of captains on this team who barely played, but really exhibited like what it meant to be a selfless leader, a selfless teammate who gave up everything he had every day, never cheated me, never gave 1 ounce of a day off just because he wasn't playing. Those are the guys I really value, and I celebrate them, and I make sure that the team knows how important they are to me, because those are the guys that make a team, right? It's not just the guys that are playing. It's the guys that make the team, or the guys who come every day to help everybody get better, but also lift the culture up through the roof.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Guys who live the culture on and off the court. You have to celebrate those guys. Those you want that to be your best player, but certainly it doesn't always happen, right? And so therefore, no matter who it is, we always say you're only as good as the things you emphasize. And so if these core values is something like, if you ran into any of my players right now, they'd be able to tell you these 3 things, and they'd be able to tell you what they mean.
I'm gonna get a workout in a little bit with my man Eric Linden, stunt coordinator from The Punisher. He's coming all the way up because we're about to get after it. And when that's done, he asked me in the car, are you gonna have my shake ready? And I know what that means. Am I gonna have my Sun Warrior shake? They've got the active protein, but they also have this collagen protein, which is amazing. They also have the Warrior blend, which is a little bit lighter if you're trying to cut. And I believe in it. I believe in that Sun Warrior stuff. Go to www.sunwarrior.com/real ones for 15% off. I appreciate y'all.